Life in the UK in 2021. The lives taken.
They're dying because they are female. That is why they're being targeted.
Lives limited.
I didn't really want to leave the house. Like, this could happen to me. I've seen it all over the news. What if it does?
Teenage girls told the same things as the generations before them.
It was always, it's my fault, it's the girl's fault, her skirt's too short.
The fears and frustrations of women whose lived experience leaves them doubting the system and the prospect of change.
I didn't report it the last time it happened to me, and I wouldn't report it the next time it happened to me. There's absolutely no point whatsoever in doing that.
Catcalling on the street, just trying to go home, people honking the horn at you, every day.
Yeah, every day, whether it be when I'm just walking around with my nieces and nephew, taking them to nursery, whether I be at work and it's a customer, just anywhere, anytime, really.
We met Hannah and Gemma at Wigan Youth Zone. Hannah's 16 and doing A-levels. Gemma is 17 and about to start a course in sport education. They went to different schools. They're from different cultures. Their frustrations and fears are the same.
It's the fact that the systems that are put in place to protect us don't protect us. Women have to, change their clothing. They have to not go out late at night. If they go at a party and they get raped, it's their fault because they were in that party and they were drinking. Why is it always our fault and never the man's fault?
Since the murder of Sarah Everard in March, there have been more than 50 women who've been killed in the UK with a man believed to be responsible. The statistic, one woman every 3 days, has been broadly the same for a decade and not getting any better. And then there are the rapes and sexual assaults, the beatings, the harassment, catcalling, wolf whistling, groping, stalking, flashing and staring. It's happening every day in every town, city and street. And so the latest Home Office strategy for tackling violence against women and girls and the promise of a radical programme of change. The measures include a new senior policing role to focus on the issue, an app so women can log when and where they feel unsafe, a long called for law making street harassment a specific crime is being carefully looked at, we're told, not ruled out, but also not a firm commitment.
The majority of our laws were made before women even had the vote.
From her office in Bolton, Gemma Aitchison supports women and works with schools on how they teach about consent, relationships and misogyny. In 2013, her 16-year-old sister was raped and murdered.
The man who killed my sister, the man who killed Sarah Everard, men who kill women and girls always have sexual offences in their history, always. And so if we listen to women and girls, we can prevent it, but we don't listen to them. We blame them. We tell them not to make a fuss. We don't take them seriously, and they don't even go to court in it's like over 95% of cases. And as long as we keep ignoring women and girls and don't listen to them, unfortunately, the list of the dead is going to keep getting longer.
Life in the UK in 2021 for Gemma includes the kind of harassment many women experience, and more besides, because of the work she does.
You have people threatening to rape you, don't you?
Several times a week on average. I know that nothing will be done about that, and they know that nothing will be done about that. I mean, the thing that men openly giving you rape threats on the internet tells you is that they're not scared to publicly do this because they know that nothing bad will happen to them.
Where once we thought changing behaviour, attitudes and culture takes years, we now know that can happen overnight if we realise it has to. The question, whether we see this change as important enough.
Well, earlier I spoke to the Home Office Minister, Victoria Atkins, and I began by asking why she's described the new strategy as a radical programme of change.
Well, we want the next decade to be a decade of change where women and girls do not have to put up with some of the crimes and the behaviours that we have heard over recent months. There were tragic events at the beginning of this year which led to women and girls sharing their stories, and it is those crimes that we really, really want to stop. And we're going to do this in three ways. We want to support victims. We want to ruthlessly pursue perpetrators, and we want to challenge some of the cultural attitudes and the behaviours that underpin these crimes.
I mean, a decade is a long time, but some campaigners wish that you'd been more radical right now. For example, you say that you're carefully considering a new offence of cyber flashing. You're simply looking carefully at a specific offence of street harassment. Where is the urgency in this?
We all know, and I think probably accept, that it's going to take some time for us to change attitudes and to help educate our young people, our children, as they grow into adulthood, to have healthy and respectful relationships with each other.
What is the use of the new policing chief when you've cut more than 20,000 police officers? Do you accept that at least part of the problem here is a problem of resources which have dwindled since 2010 when the Conservatives first came to power?
I think actually, if you look at the range of responses that we had in the Vorg survey, we will see that there are a huge range of factors at play here. So education and cultural attitudes were mentioned in many, many responses. And we know that some of the attitudes that we're going to have to deal with, that will take time. And we know, obviously, as well, with new emerging crimes such as the use of technology, not just to cyberflash, but also to stalk, to enable perpetrators to threaten to use revenge porn and indeed to use it. These sorts of crimes have been enabled by tech. So, of course, police numbers are important. That's why we've committed to recruiting a further 20,000 before 2023. But actually, there is so much more for us to focus on.
You've said clearly that it's your ambition to bring more perpetrators to justice. I just wonder how we, the public, can judge that. I mean, would you, for example, personally pledge that if that doesn't happen, you will put your own job on the line?
Look, I actually think it's much more important than my own job. This is about the safety of women and girls as they're walking around our streets at night, as they're facing threats of FGM and forced marriage within their own families and communities. It's about ensuring that we raise the age of child marriage, for example, to 18 so that girls are not being targeted. There are so many offences within the title of violence against women and girls.
And just finally, the Home Secretary herself talked about her own experience of being followed at the start of this strategy. I know you too have also experienced harassment. How has that informed your approach to all of this?
It makes it very... Well, I think... I want women and girls to understand that as we've been working through this, it hasn't just been a job. This means a very, very great deal to everyone who's been working on it. I, like a lot of women, have experienced pretty frightening behaviours, actually. And I remember the worst one involved me getting off the night bus many years ago and being followed by a man, and I tried to avoid him. I hid behind a van hoping that he'd be distracted, and he didn't. He hid behind the other side of the van. I managed, I got away, but not every woman does, and it's that we want to stop.
Victoria Atkins, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.